All right, I haven't introduced a vlog from the anchor desk in a while, but I figured in this particular case I would because it is a big edition of the vlog. I've long been criticized, saying the graphics on this vlog are not up to par with others. Well, today that changes. We have a complete graphics overhaul for you. But before we get to those hands, a couple things to point out. Number one, my buddy Chad Holloway at Pokernews was cool enough to have me on the Pokernews podcast. Now, I've been listening to that for about 10 years. There have been a number of different hosts of it over the years, but it's always been one of the places to go to catch up with the latest information in the poker world. So check that out. I'll put a link in the description below. But for today, it's live poker, not one, but two casinos featured in this edition of the vlog. And I must say, a few pretty interesting hands and a lot of people jamming all in. Let's go there now. So it's just after noon on a Thursday, and the Peppermill did not yet have a game, but the Atlantis did. So I made the trip over there and only bought in for $700 because that's all I had in bills to go along with a Peppermill 1K hockey puck. So the first hand comes when I pick up two black aces. It's literally the first hand I'm dealt on the day. I'm in the cutoff, and there's a button straddle on. So I make it 40. And the straddle, of course, makes the call. So with 85 in, the flop comes queen 7-8 with two hearts. I bet 65 here, and the straddle jams all in for $400 exactly. I snap call, and he says that he just has a heart draw. That draw ends up being in the form of king 10 of hearts, so only his hearts are live. He doesn't waste any time. He immediately drills a heart on the turn, leaving me drawing dead in an $885 pot. Easy game, apparently. Then playing six-handed, I pick up King Jack under the gun and raise to 20. +1 snap calls me. I could immediately tell that he kind of had that, oh, I can beat this guy no matter what he does feeling after beating my aces and winning another $40 pot that I didn't show. The button calls here as well, so with 65 in it comes queen of spades, 10 of spades, 4 of hearts, giving me an open-ender with a backdoor straight flush draw. I bet 20 with the idea of getting ace highs to fold, but seeing a turn cheaper against any queens. The same guy on my left is my only caller. So with 105 in, the turn completes half of my backdoor straight flush draw. And, oh, by the way, gives me the nut straight. I bet 40 here, and he raises to 100. I think about it for only a minute, but don't take too long with it before jamming all in for about 200, which is all I had left of that $700 buy-in. He calls with Jack 8 of clubs for a turned gut shot straight draw, leaving him basically drawing dead. He only has 2 offsuit kings that can get him a chop, and wouldn't you know it, he pulls one out. Short session at the Atlantis. I rack up, book a loss, and make the trip over to the Peppermill to try and turn things around on the day. I jump into the 8th seat, ideal for vlogging, and I'm kind of surprised to see this dude on my left putting ice cubes in his beer. Is it just me or is that odd? Anyway, I pick up queen jack +1 and make it 20. I get a couple of callers, so with 60 in, it comes queen 9 rainbow. I down bet here, hoping to get action from nines and medium pocket pairs and the like. My $25 bet gets one call from the hijack, an unknown short stack. So with 110 in, the turn is the ace of spades, and I bet 50, which gets called. The river is a 6. I bet him all in for his last $100, which he snap calls. I show my hand, and I'm good. Then we get a raise to 20 under the gun 2 from a woman who I'm going to refer to as a pro. She's a very good player and very tough to beat. Not really sure what her deal in life is, but she's been here every day of late. I have pocket 5s in the hijack and make the call. The button calls as well. So with 65 in, the flop comes 8-3-5 rainbow. Original raiser checks, and I bet 40, which both proceed to call. So with 185 in, the turn's an offsuit 7, and she checks. This time I bet out for 80, and again, both call. So with 425 in, the river is the 10 of diamonds, and she checks. I'm still obviously going to value bet here, I make it 120. Not really sure what to put her on, but hoping both will call. The button folds, and then it's back to her, +2, and she jams all in for $500 more. Now, she's a very tough player, and she does not play too many hands, and I really don't think that her game plan is to run river check raise all-in bluffs against me. There's very little chance she's going to have a value hand that's weaker than my set of fives. There are some straights she could have, but to me the most likely hand was pocket tens. Either way, I kind of knew I was screwed here and had to fold. It hurt at the time, but I do think I was right. And had I been wrong, it really would have sucked given the way the rest of the day would ultimately play out for me. Then I pick up aces under the gun and make it 20, +1, who has been drinking beers all day as I mentioned, but usually doesn't just give money away. Snap calls me, and everyone else folds. So with 45 in, the flop comes 6-6-5, 2 clubs. I bet 25 here, and he insta-raises to 100. Folding's out of the question. 3-betting shouldn't have been, but I wanted to see a safe turn card before getting too much money in against this guy. So I just call with 245 in. The turn's an offsuit king, and I check. He then proceeds to bet all of his chips. That's a $595 bet, an overbet, and I had to think about this. Now, I know this guy pretty well. He is, as the great Jeff Boski would describe, an Asian male aged 40 to 60. And like I said, he's been drinking. The other thing is, he's one of these guys who, despite there being a shuffle machine, asks the dealer every half hour to scramble the deck. And I had reminded him on 2 occasions that we're paying time here. And by the way, as an aside, I would never do this for a true fun player, which this guy really isn't. Anyway, I had kind of thought that he was pissed off at me as a result of that too. So that could lead him to be jamming with more hands here. So ultimately, I opted to call. And we have a $1,435 pot. The river comes a brick, and he shows king-9 of clubs for a turned top pair, but a missed flush draw, so our aces are just good enough to win it. Then I picked up aces after it folded to me on the button, and ended up losing a $115 pot to ace-3 when the button turned a gut shot straight. Then an older woman who clearly has money and isn't shy about putting into the pot sits down. She raises to 20 under the gun +2, and I look at 3-4 of diamonds on the button and make the call. So with 45 in, it comes ace of diamonds, king of clubs, 5 of hearts, and she bets 20 again. Now she's got about 600 behind, so I figured that I could try for this. I make the call, and with 85 in, the turn is slightly above average. The deuce of clubs giving me my gut shot straight. She bets out for 45, and I end up raising to 175. She thinks about it for a minute, and you're kind of noticing a theme on this vlog, aren't you? She jams all in for about 600. She ended up having ace-king for top 2 and tried to bet small as a result. So despite the 5 on the river pairing the board, we still take down a roughly $1,250 pot. Then I pick up queens after it folds to me in a hijack, and I make it 20. And OMC in the big blind is my only caller, so with 40 in, it comes 10-7 deuce, 2 diamonds, and he checks. I bet a green chip, expecting him to not call all that wide here, especially giving my winning image at the moment. He does call, though. So with 90 in, the turn's an offsuit 6, and now he bets out for 30. It seemed a lot like a blocker bet to me here, and even though when guys make blocker bets, they often will still call if you raise them. But I had a feeling this guy was probably not going to go all that crazy with too many hands here, so I just raised to 60. He calls. So with 210 in, the river is a 5 and he checks. I bet 100, and he calls pretty quickly here, so we have a $400 pot. I show my hand, and he mucks. Then for the 4th time in the day, I got aces. Only got 1 bet worth of action, though, from a vlog watcher named Benson. And then playing 7-handed, I have ace-king under the gun and make it 25. +1 calls, as does the cutoff. Then the big blind jams all in for 100. I have an easy re-raise here to isolate. I make it 225. The others fold. So we're heads up in a $250 pot. The board runs out king high, and he announces jack high. And we take it down and win another one on a day filled with all-in pots. We rack up and book the win. All right, cashing out here at Peppermill. It's 10 o'clock on a Thursday night. So to recap, this day started out by me going to the Atlantis, where I booked a $434 loss, I believe. I'll put the exact number right here, courtesy of Poker Income Pro. And I know I booked a $1,680 win here at Peppermill tonight. Obviously ran really good, and I don't think made too many egregious mistakes. So I will take it. Definitely a good bounce back after a couple of losing vlogs in a row that you saw here recently. Follow me on Instagram, and if you haven't already, do me the favor of please subscribing to this channel. As has been established, it's clearly one of the fastest growing channels out there now. We'll see you back here next time.